Hey, it's Webs here, and it's time to fire our cannons at our opponents in Hearthstone Mercenaries mode with a pirate-themed mercenary team. While I know this team isn't using all possible pirate mercenaries, the ones that I left out of this build are not that good as it currently stands. Vanessa I thought had a lot of potential, but she just didn't really work at all in this build. However, even though this build doesn't use all the possible pirates, it does still center around pirates, which is why I consider it a pirate build. The central idea of this build is to use Eudora to bounce herself back, and Mukla, who both have battlecry equipments, thus allowing you to summon a bunch of additional units. It allows you to chip away at your opponent's mercenaries or use them for fuel for Sylvanas or Mr. Smite in the later game, and using Morgl as a way to actually buff up these additional units so they don't instantly die against some type of AoE that your opponent might have. While this build is pretty easy to understand in the order of mercenaries you're going to actually want to put down, it is kind of complicated with the mercenaries that you're going to want to put down once you bounce back a mercenary from Eudora. Sometimes you're going to want to use Eudora again instantly if she is at high HP and there's no fighter-based mercenary on your opponent's board at the current moment, but most of the time you're going to want to put down King Mukla as just a way to get a big brother out and then diversify the damage sources that you actually have on your board. It all really depends on how long Eudora lasts and how long King Mukla lasts, and if your opponent's actually focusing down the cannons or not. But generally speaking, the order of which you're going to put mercenaries down is Edwin first, equipped with the black flag equipment. This will speed up your Eudora so she doesn't have a speed of 7 when she spawns a cannon, and that actually makes her way more valuable as a mercenary than without Edwin on the team. And speaking of Eudora, you're going to want to put her down to the right of Edwin, just because this makes her equipment primed armaments actually the most online, just because it will hit the most targets by doing that. And then you're going to want to use her Repair the Cannons ability as her first ability, followed by a Covering Fire to either bounce her back or maybe another low HP mercenary, depending on what the situation is. And then you just swap between Covering Fire and Repair the Cannons back and forth when she's on the actual board. The third mercenary you're going to want to put down is Morgl with the equipment Morgl's Mitt. This will make his Murloc Missile buff all friendly characters, which is the main reason you're running him in the build. This will buff up your cannons so they don't instantly die to any stray AoE damage that your opponent might have. Now for the fourth mercenary, I usually put down Mukla if I haven't already put him down due to Eudora's bouncing back ability. You're using him fourth usually so you can combo him out with a Mukla's Big Brother and Primal Power, just so you can do a bunch of damage to one of your opponent's mercenaries without taking any damage, and having a taunt on board protecting your other mercenaries that you might not want dead yet. And because you get an additional Big Brother every time you bounce him back, sometimes you're going to want to actually bounce him back. It's just some decision making that you're going to have to make with this build. The fifth mercenary that I usually put down is Mr. Smite. You're using him in here for Overboard for the most part and the taunt ability. It doesn't really matter which equipment that you're really using. Sailor Cap is just the most consistent between the three, mainly because the cannons don't count as pirates, so you're not going to gain that much playability out of the other two equipments. And you can force your cannons to attack one of your opponent's mercenaries, thus triggering Overboard if you really need to in late game. That sometimes comes up, but it doesn't really come up too much. And finally, the last mercenary you're going to use is Sylvanas, with Death Volley as her equipment. This is mainly due to the fact that you're summoning a bunch of additional mercenaries, so why not use Sylvanas as your final mercenary in the build? It serves as a nice way to finish off your opponent, as she snowballs pretty quickly in this build, given the amount of cannons that you actually have. So let's go find some games. Okay, Edwin, Eudora, and Morgl. Okay, so I'm not going to make the same mistake as the first time of playing against this build. We're just going to do cannon, then go there. So I thought the slow would be worse, but if we summon the cannon and then go Zyrilla, then we should be fine. I'm assuming they're going to try to focus down Edwin or maybe Morgl. They're going to go for Edwin, which actually is my preferred one to go for. Though not getting any damage from Edwin is pretty bad. Let's bounce him back though. Oh, that's going to be faster. Oh, it actually targeted itself for once. Okay. It's just going to be inconsistent when it does shit like that, then. I think there's only space for one more. Maybe two? No, one more. Okay, so. Dying. Overboard. Then taunt. Oh, okay, so they're orcs. They're just orcs with a funny front line. Well, not really that funny, but... At least we get one down. And then at the end of the turn, we should get two down. And now we get Sylvanas to put down. Actually, not that bad off for once. Okay, so... okay, Garrosh and Brukan. Well, I'm just going to focus Brukan down. We're going to put a taunt up. Then reclaim souls. I don't know what souls cannons actually have, but I'm not the one that designed this game, you know, so... Okay, we should actually win from here. As long as all the cannons don't die. We do kill one there. Let's put another cannon down. Then... Okay, they give up. That's good. Okay, let's do this. So... Nature, I think? Nature, Murlocs, or... Human? Okay, so they're human. I'm going to try to kill Vlin first. Bromosh could be an issue. Same thing with Zyrilla. It all depends on what the rest of the board is. Good news is the cannon is what gets slowed. Still going to try to focus that down. Bounce this back. Fire the cannons automatically. I don't think they'll have enough damage here. Okay, so we do... They're always just going to make that have less attack. Okay, so they're going... Oh, they didn't kill one of the cannons. We do kill the Zyrilla, though. That's actually a pretty good first step. Yeah, let's put down her again. We should be able to focus the cannons on one mercenary here. Okay, so... Let's do it like this. This has no way to protect, and we instantly will kill this no matter what. We're actually in a pretty good position here. We do lose the Edwin there, which sucks, but that's fine. The cannons should do enough damage. Okay, so I'm assuming we have an Anduin left, and a Garrosh maybe? Okay, Anduin. Still going to focus that down like that. Well, I think it might be dangerous to keep this alive with Battle Fury and a Tyrion on board. Still think this is the correct solution. I don't actually know if they can come back from this. Okay, that's slow. Humans take less damage. It's not what I wanted to see. It's so annoying. Oh, it's Varian. Varian would be the last one here. Or not. Oh, that's actually kind of bad. We'll put taunt up. I want to try to bounce back, but I don't think it's going to work. That might actually work. Let's try to bounce them back. Because yeah, if that's quicker, we're good to go. We lose one cannon, but that's perfectly fine. Let's put her back down. Get greedy with the cannons. Put the taunt back up. Ironically, leaving up Anduin here for last might be the best thing. Because our cannon should win us the game here. Alright, let's do this. Eudora as our middle unit. Okay. Huh. I think Lich King is actually the biggest problem for us here. Just because it's permanent AoE slow. bounce that back, do damage there. I guess it's only a permanent AoE slow to the skill that you actually use, so that's not going to be too big of a deal. Wait, oh, it's random. Never mind. Okay, we can put Eudora back. And I have a sneaking suspicion we'll need a Smite. Okay, so we'll do that. Oh, we can actually... That's what, 60 damage? This is actually going to go pretty well here. Then Lich King should get hit for a shit ton here. Oh, only 2. Then we move her back over. Then we put the taunt back up. We cover fire herself. And then we do that. Call it good. Alrighty, so... Okay, they give up. That's great. Alright, now that we're through some games, let's discuss my final thoughts of the build. So overall, the build felt really strong when I was actually testing it, but once I put this in video format and tried to record some games with it, it felt incredibly weak. It has a cool, interesting mechanic in the form of bouncing back both Eudora and King Mukla for their equipments that you normally use with them anyways, and that can actually make this quite strong if your opponent can't deal with those cannons. But if you face Diablo or a Beast team, you're probably going to just lose straight up. Both of those units kind of counteract the fact that you can have a bunch of mercenaries on the board at the same time. Though Morgl kind of helps a little bit when it comes to Diablo, making the cannons harder to actually kill for Diablo. And the cannons can target stealth mercenaries, so it is good against Valeera. But overall, I don't think the build is strong enough as it currently stands to warrant you wanting to play it unless you're at real low ranks. Then it's quite fun to actually try. And honestly, probably one of the best ways you can actually make pirates work in mercenaries right now. But that's not really saying much because a lot of the pirates are quite weak besides Mr. Smite, who seems to be an outlier out of the entire bunch. If Edwin actually sped himself up too, I think this build would be a lot stronger. But as it currently stands, something needs to change for any of this to actually see a lot of play. Maybe if we see another battlecry mercenary, then we might see something played like this. But it would have to be a very strong one. And like always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And until next time, bye bye.